Welcome in, everybody. It's time, yes it is, for another episode of Three Guys Before the Game. This is our recap of Utah and our preview of West Virginia against BYU. Double the pleasure, double the information, double the fun. Hey, isn't that kind of neat? Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by a new sponsor, and we're delighted to have them on board, Dills, attorneys at law. You know what we like about them? They won't take no for an answer. Sounds like the guy sitting next to me, Dills, attorneys at law. Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details. You can also download that Gomart app. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Got a great blast of sunshine this morning, which only means we're now just minutes away from summer. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All right, let's bring it in, everybody. Let's bring it in. Here we go. 2, not 3, today. The Hopster on assignment. He'll be back on Thursday. Senator is here, and we're delighted that you are as well. West Virginia. Did you know? You know this, but kind of like put it into perspective. I'm just thinking here. There's only 8 games left.
I know.
Did you know that?
Oh, I did, because I happened to look this morning. I was going through some other stuff, and I saw that. I'm like, geez.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's clipping along.
There's 8 left, man. I mean, this is where you separate yourself in these next 3 weeks. These 2 teams that West Virginia is currently battling with, Utah and BYU, here at home. That trip gets returned early next month, which becomes West Virginia's final road trip of the season. They'll do both of those back-to-back, BYU and then Utah. Then they come home and then play UCF on a Saturday. Then that's it. Which means, if I'm not mistaken here, right, you have 5 games in February left and then 3 in March. Make sense?
Say it again.
5 in the month of February,
and
then 3 in March, and then Kansas City. Here we come.
Let's go.
Okay.
Here we go.
So massive victory for West Virginia on Saturday for a bunch of different reasons that we're going to get into. Brad is going to dive into the numbers, the analytics. What we saw during the game, what the numbers say. 1, 2, BYU becomes a massively important game. We record on Monday, so Tuesday night. And I'm concerned about Cincinnati.
Yeah, they should just – can they be done? I thought they were just going to be done. Like, why did all these teams refuse to lay down? Somebody lay down that West Virginia still has to play. Nobody's laying down.
Not that way. I'm not concerned about them.
I was.
I'm concerned
they had a big win
with
yesterday over BYU.
They did. So I'm concerned with something that I have developed called the Cincinnati slapback. Last time, Arizona State, right? Remember, they go to Cincinnati. Yeah. And they, the outcome of that game not good for the Wildcats. So they come in here frothy, and they're going like, we're not going to take 2 road losses. And West Virginia got beat. I don't want BYU after they got beat pretty good against Cincinnati. Same kind of a deal. You following me? I call it Cincinnati slapback because both teams circled back through here.
I hear you. I was already concerned with the matchup for BYU, so I'm not necessarily any more concerned, but I get your point. I was more concerned that Cincinnati went out and made shots and looked really, really good. Jizzle James, who didn't score against West Virginia, went bananas. And you still have Cincinnati coming up. That's why I'm concerned about Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into
We'll
that.
get to that.
Also, later on during Textual Healing, we had that dinner on Saturday night with some folks that won a dinner with 3 guys during a cancer event back in July. That was, right? That was July.
I think that was July.
July. We had an event at a golf tournament. Where were we? Stonewall?
Stonewall.
We were at Stonewall. We were at Stonewall.
Had a great time.
Yeah, it was great. And someone bid for a dinner, and then we had the dinner after the game against Utah on Saturday, and we'll have some pictures coming up here.
Awesome dinner. Awesome company. That was a really fun time.
That was a good night.
Celebrated the win nicely.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very nice. Let's face it, when you get together with people you don't know, I mean, it could be okay. It could suck. It could be like really good. We got the really good.
Really good.
Really enjoyed it.
We got an A-plus crew in there.
Yeah. All right, so West Virginia beats Utah 72-61. Very memorable game at the Coliseum. It was sold out 13-133, and it was a coal rush, so you had a bunch of stuff going on. And new uniforms.
Looked great. And also, we'll get into this. Have some situations with the LED. Well, I thought it was awesome.
Well, it was. It was.
Thought it looked great.
It did.
Thought it was super cool.
It was unbelievably cool. It was everything you just said during the game. Got a couple of people that texted in, has situations.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
I liked it.
Yeah, so did I. I'm all for it. 72-61. West Virginia wins it. Mountaineers at the break were up by 9 points, 36-27. West Virginia outscores the visiting Utes 36-34 in the second half, and they go on to win the game 72-61. But it was a 5-point game with 3 minutes to go. It could have gone either way. So, you give a ton of credit to the Mountaineers, who made 5 of their last 7 shots, while Utah was making 3 of its last 3 shots. And I thought it just was a super game, super environment. That's Mountaineer basketball to me. That's exactly, if you were to define it and say, hey, what's it like? What's it like to play in the Coliseum? If you could just bottle that and just that's every single game, it's really super special.
You can be a beast at home. Yeah, I thought the Iowa State, when those Saturday games, when that building is full and it's jumping and West Virginia hits a couple shots or a couple steals, it's an awesome environment. And I thought that was the case again on Saturday. At times, it was hard to sustain that the whole time for the crowd because the game was super choppy. Right, there was not a lot of flow at times, but I thought in the key moments that crowd rose up and you could see those guys garner some energy off that. I'm with you. I thought it was a fun, really good environment that benefited West Virginia clearly.
Now the Utes coach thought it was too.
I mean, he thought he was so complimentary afterwards. West Virginia said, "You know what? That's about as well as you can say it. We're going to take your quote, put it on a graphic, and we'll shoot it out there."
He seems like a good dude.
Yeah, very nice.
Seems like a good dude.
Utah people just can't be nicer. Extremely nice. The BYU folks come in really nice.
Very nice.
Utah folks were in very nice.
Yeah.
Just very nice.
Yeah, it was.
I give their team credit too. They're an example of a team. Never mind season wide. I thought or was hoping Saturday West Virginia can come in here. You get up double digits. That's a long flight. You might be tired. You go ahead and get up double digits. This place is rocking. Just go ahead and just rest. Just go ahead and lay down there and just rest. You got another game coming at Cincinnati. They wouldn't go away, man. They did a nice job. They couldn't get over the hump and get the win, but I felt like every time West Virginia extended that lead out and you thought, okay, here it is. They're in control. This is over. They'd hit a basket or two and be right back in it.
That's why you had to get it, because they're going to be waiting on the world champion Mountaineers in Salt Lake City. So, yeah, why don't you come here? That's why the remaining home games for West Virginia are just so absolutely vital. Okay, let's do some math. Want to do math? Simple math.
Okay.
I mean, I stopped at trig in high school. Cut it off at trigonometry. Just ended it there. Did fine. Had a great teacher. Didn't want to do calculus. So I stopped it there. So I can go up to some public numbers here, right? You've got 6 wins in the league. You're 6-6 with 8 to go.
Mm-hmm.
Consensus is you get to 10 wins in the league, you're in the NC2A tournament.
I think nine's still in play.
I don't want to do 9. I want 10. You know what? I mean, of all the people that don't live on the edge, this would be you. Let's just get to 10.
Well, I'm not saying I'd rather have 9 than 10. I'm saying I think you're in at 9, but go ahead with your point. 10, we're not even having the discussion, but I don't think you are at 9 either. You're solidly in right now, but I'll get to that.
Yeah, I don't want to go to – I like to go to Kansas City breathing deeply. Like, hey, what's up, Tuesday players? We're going to come over, going to watch your games. Everything's good. We're good. We're in. We're just playing house money this week. I like that. I don't
disagree, but you're in at 9. You have an unbelievable non-conference schedule. You have
totally
some great
agree.
wins. You have quad 1 wins. You have away from home wins. You're in one of the best leagues in America. Do away with the tournament if you're not in with 9 wins.
Okay.
Go ahead with your point.
BYU, if you get it, you're at 7.
Feeling great if you get BYU.
Cincinnati, if you get him here, you're at 8.
Feel wonderful if that's the case.
TCU might owe them.
Got to line up and get them.
9.
Punch it.
UCF, last game of the regular. I know they're good. I'm just saying, get them.
Yeah.
But you know it's going to be Saturday. It's going to be the last game of the season. Fans are going to come out. By that time.
Got to bring it.
By that time, I mean, the weather changes. Probably going to be about 72.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. Might be some people out boating.
Right. Lou Wendell boats will be out. Nevertheless, you got to come in for that game. You get 10. Regardless of what happens for the rest of the way at Baylor, at Texas Tech, at Utah, at BYU, those are just, okay, fine, go play the games and try your ass off. But if you can take care of your work at home, right, then you're in. Which I would say you do it. And I've said this before, I don't know if I've said this publicly, but I've told a bunch of people privately, best coaching job I've ever seen.
It's hard to
and
argue
it's not
that.
even close. Like, if you find me a better coaching job than that one, show it to me.
Darren won't win National Coach of the Year for that, but he should. I mean, it's unbelievable what is going on right now. The fact that we're having this conversation and debating whether 9 or 10 conference wins gets you in the tournament is absolutely astounding from where this group was and where it's been over the last year and a half. It's remarkable. As you sit today, from bracketmatrix.com, you're still holding solidly in this field at a 9.14 seed consensus over whatever they do, 80 to 100 different brackets. 9.41 seed, 9.14 seed. Interesting, the other 9 seeds, while we're here, Utah State, coached by Jared Calhoun, Gonzaga, who West Virginia played.
Never thought that would be the case.
And Oklahoma.
Boy, I tell you what, Oklahoma's got
some good 9 seeds.
They got some tough challenges coming up in the remainder of their schedule. They might have done one of these. They might have shot up high quick. And now, if you take a look at their remaining games on their schedule, you have Oklahoma there. Can you click on there?
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, go on Oklahoma. Take a look what they still have to do in their league. They got some tough dandies, I think.
Missouri, LSU, at Florida, Mississippi State, Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Missouri again, so they're going to home and away, and at Texas.
See, they're gonna do one of these, man. They're gonna come like, whoo.
It's a good the SEC, good league, just like the Big 12. You just went through West Virginia's remaining schedule. There isn't a single game on there that you say is a lock, and there isn't a single game on there that you can't win. But man, those road games are tough for West Virginia. At Baylor, at Texas Tech, and then a 2-game trip to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Sets up Tuesday's game. Tomorrow's game is super important, but we'll say that every game for the remainder of the schedule.
All right. You ready to?
I think let's just dive right in because most of the stuff I'm going to say as a recap is related back to some numbers. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, let's do that. Time for a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Let's do. So
I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
This is Spreads on Stats. It is the analytics portion of the show, as someone once said. Brought to us by Conley's CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. They are a complete service public accounting and consultation firm, serving clients throughout our great state of West Virginia and in surrounding states. They now are celebrating birthday number 40. So if you last for 40 years or whatever it is that you do, that's pretty doggone good. You can outsource your accounting with them. You can outsource your CFO services. They literally do it all. It's Conley CPA Group. West Virginians running a West Virginia business. Check them out. All right. Anything that made you go like, hoo-ha?
Couple things let's start on the defense for a second, because as we've come to see now with this team, West Virginia's success is driven by its defense. Its offense is keyed by its defense. So let's begin there. And it was, we talked about this Thursday when we said, hey, Utah's coming in here with great size, 4th tallest team in the country. They're really big. If you've only seen them on TV, which I had, and then you're sitting there on the floor with them, that is a big boy team. I can't remember a team that consistently big across the board. They trot those starters out. Shortest dude was 6'6".
Dude, I'm going to tell you something. On their first defensive possession, I truly was taken aback. Like, I don't know, they won the tip, so the ball's over here. And they ran their offensive set, whatever it is. I don't think they didn't score. I don't know if they scored, whatever. And then we turn, and West Virginia brings the ball up the floor. And my man, Sharov jumps. 6'9", point guard. He's here. And then Whelan is
6'10".
over 6'10". And then the big center is
Lovering.
7'1". I looked over and I went like, holy cow. Biggest defense that I can recall. Looked like a pro defense.
Huge.
Yeah.
There were times when KJ Tenner would come in and he was guarded by 6'9" or 6'10". I mean, it's a foot difference.
It literally is a foot difference. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So great size. So that concerned me right out of the gate. I thought, oh my gosh. So defensively, though, and that's part of where you look at this, like, okay, what are you going to do to them defensively? So West Virginia's game plan coming into this was to shut off the passing lanes in the paint. Utah's came into this game number one nationally in assist rate. So they had assisted on a higher percentage of made baskets than any other team in the country. And part of that was due to great passing bigs and opening up that lane and cutting through. They did a tremendous job at that. So one of the things West Virginia was looking to do, when you would see them come off the curls on some of those screens, West Virginia was not helping on the curl guy. They were saying, if you want to shoot that mid-range jumper, so be it. We're not going to let you dump it down when the help guy comes up. We're going to stay back on this. So you saw some open mid-range shots early, and if you were confused as a fan or concerned about that, you shouldn't have been. That was the exact game plan. So overall, West Virginia took a team averaging an assist on 70% of its made baskets, cut that all the way down to 48% assist rate. So dropped that down tremendously, made a team that wants to pass and move the ball, but come up more, I've got to go get my own shot. I thought that was step number one to making this work. Here's another one, Tony. In the last 5 games, Utah had assisted on a shot in the paint on 40% of their field goal attempts. Okay? So half of the field goal attempts on shots in the lane came via an assist. If the season ended today, that would have been in the 99th percentile. So that matches up that they're a very good passing and assist rate team. So again, 47% of those particular niche passes, shots from in the paint. You want to know how many assists they had on shots in the paint against West Virginia?
How many?
Goose egg.
Wow.
0.
Huge then.
So West Virginia just cut that off, said, go ahead and make shots if you're going to beat us. You're not going to pass and get close to the basket with your great size. So I thought that was one example of West Virginia doing a great job. And I think it's another concrete example of what you hear us say on this show all the time throughout basketball season, that Darren and this staff do a tremendous job of coming up with opponent-specific game plans that they can put in place that give this team the best chance to win. That's part of why we're talking about the NCAA tournament come mid-February, because of the plans that these guys come up with and implement, and then credit to the guys that then take those plans that are ever-changing and then they go execute them. And I thought defensively, West Virginia did that across the board, but that was one area where it was exceedingly good at executing the game plan.
Yeah, that's huge. Think about that. They're eating there, and then all of a sudden, there's no food in the lane.
Really well done.
Yeah, really.
All right, let's talk about free throws for a second, because that was the theme of the last podcast, and the whistle that West Virginia got at TCU was certainly disadvantage West Virginia. On Saturday against Utah, advantage West Virginia. I give that crew a tremendous amount of credit, Tony. That was a very physical game, and it was physical in a lot of areas that don't get called sometimes, and here's what I mean by that. There were multiple times when Javon was cutting as West Virginia was trying to put him off the ball. And what's one of the things you do to try and counteract their great size? You try and move, right? Mm-hmm. You got to move and motion and pass and make those big-bodied guys have to chase you around. Well, they were doing that with Javon offensively, putting him in positions where he could try and get off screens, and Utah did what I thought was a very good job all game of preventing him from getting a lot of shots. He finished with, five field goal attempts on the day. So they ultimately did a good job in closing him off from shooting the ball. Well, a lot of times what they were doing, Tony, he'd cut through the lane, and there would be a Utah defender that would not only step in front of him, but step in front of him and shoulder check, forearm shiver. They were extremely physical with Javon off the ball. There was a lot of holding. There was a lot of grabbing. There was a lot of wrapping around the arms. There was a lot of pushing on rebounds. That was a very physical Utah defense trying to use its size to lean on West Virginia. And there were not a lot of those that got through. I thought the crew did a great job of seeing those things off the ball that should be called and they were called, and I thought that helped West Virginia quite a bit.
Javon's former teammate there at East Carolina, he was rather physical.
Rather physical and got whistled a few times for that. They were on him early, and that was to Utah's detriment.
Picked up a technical foul, I think.
He did. That's right.
Did anyone tell you that was going to happen before it did? I told him. I said, dude, I know this official. First half, because I noticed the official got upset with him because he committed a foul. And I know that official. I've watched him for years. And I told him during a commercial, I said, mark it down. That dude will tee that guy up at some point in the game. It's going to come. Second half.
You got it.
Beep.
Well,
it's exactly why TJ Simmons got called for blocking out of bounds in the game against Oklahoma in football.
That was still a horse bleep call.
It was. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just saying when these guys get your license number, they're eventually going to run you off the road, and that's what happens.
Big advantage for West Virginia in that one, but the percentage wasn't great from the line. West Virginia struggled to make some shots, 13 to 23 for the game, so the overall percentage wasn't great, but you needed those points, and in particular, that's where Javon made some hay. 9 of 9 when you got Javon to the line, so that was critical. Here's where it really paid dividends. In the first half, Tony and I were having another one of those oh no moments. Utah came in, we talked about this on Thursday. They were going to get to the line a bunch. This was a team that had a very high free throw attempt percentage. They'd get to the line, but it was a bottom 5 team in terms of free throw percentage. They were a bad free throw shooting team. We had just said the same thing about TCU, and it didn't work. TCU made 86% of its foul shots against West Virginia, won them the game. Utah starts the game 7 of 7 from the free throw line. And I thought, oh no, we're not doing this again. Another bad free throw shooting team is going to make its free throws. Luckily, you got involved with the announcer jinx because mine was not working for a game and a half. You got involved in the second half. Utah couldn't buy a shot. They go just 2 of 7 from the line, so they regressed. West Virginia, an 83% free throw attempt rate in the second half, meaning they got almost as many free throw attempts as it did field goal attempts. And that was massive with Javon getting a bulk of those, going to the line and helping you score. So just as West Virginia got Jonathan Powell hot in the second half, they were also getting to the free throw line. That was the difference there offensively. So whistle didn't help West Virginia at the TCU game. It did help against Utah, and that was a factor.
That's what makes you crazy, not to belabor the TCU game, but you do. So Javon Small goes 9 for 9 at the line on Saturday against Utah. He got 0 free throws. Listen, check this out. So Javon Small took 9 free throws. He tried 5 shots on Saturday. At TCU, he tried 19 shots and got 0 free throws. What if Javon Small would have made 6 free throws against TCU? You're sitting here with one more W. But again, I'll never be one to belabor a point. Go ahead.
No, if you want to just keep belaboring, I'll join you in belaboring. It was about 17 and change to go on the clock in the second half. So early in the second half, Javon had surpassed, in one game against Utah, had surpassed his free throw attempt total from the previous 3 games.
Jeez.
With almost 18 minutes to go in the second half. Should never happen. It did. So officials and whistle helped West Virginia. Now, again, I thought they called it pretty well. Now, that's probably partly because West Virginia benefited from it. But I thought the off-the-ball stuff that was going on in that game that was spotted pretty early by those officials worked to West Virginia's benefit. Let's stay on Javon here for just a second, because what a game he had. For the Big 12's leading scorer, that wasn't a game that wowed you with his scoring ability. But how about him distributing the ball? 8 assists in this game, and you can't tell the story of this game without what's coming next from out of my mouth. The 8 assists, and then the other guys stepping up and scoring, which I will get to in just a second. 8 assists, no turnovers for Javon Small. How about that, dude? He's hard to stop scoring, and then you're going to try and take him out of the game, which, again, they did a pretty good job of. Some face guarding early to make it tough. 8 assists, no turnovers in that game as much as he has the ball.
I think it was a wonderful case study that absolutely everyone that plays the game, or parents that have young kids that are playing the game, and Darren spoke to this in his post-game press conference, and that is all Javon Small wants to do is win. So whatever role that takes. For whatever reason, we become and have become infatuated by points.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you come across even a little kid, right, that plays, you go like, well, how many points a game do you score? Like for some reason that became the point. Like we never ask an offensive lineman in football, how many touchdowns do you score? Because that's not their job. Well, guess what? The same concept is true in basketball. Right? You don't need to be a point scorer. You need to be elite at a specific category. Fortunately for Javon Small, he is not just a scorer. He can do a bunch of other things. So on Saturday, he goes out, he makes 9 free throws. He gets you 8 assists. He gets 0 turnovers. He becomes the focal point of the other team's defensive attack, which freed up, the guys will talk about him, Imani Hansberry, Jonathan Powell, Joe Yesufu at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we probably collectively need to stop looking at that and further appreciate Toby Okani, for example.
We'll get to him. He was awesome.
I mean, Toby Okani is not going to be a guy that can say, hey, Toby, you're going to need to go out there and lead us tonight in points. No. But the things that he does, Sincere Harris.
Stop right there before you get to Sincere. The things that Toby does when he's on and they win you games.
100%.
And you don't win games if he doesn't do those things.
Yeah.
They win you games.
And Saturday was the perfect display of when Toby Okani is completely locked in. I mean, he is a tremendous defender. They constantly elite. They constantly tried to post him up, and he's just so big. He's strong. He doesn't bend, and he just refutes all of those attacks. That's one. And then that play that he made, obviously, that you've probably seen a good bit on social. You know, you block a dunk at the rim, that's one thing. That's hard to do. You know, that's a rarity. You run down, position in the corner, and you bang a 3. I mean, there was like the aftershock meters somewhere.
It was unbelievable.
It's just like the roof was like, boom. I mean, completely set the tone for the rest of the game by doing what he did.
Showed his versatility. You know what got lost, at least on me, because that sequence was so unbelievable? He did it in a previous sequence too. How about this run for Toby? Remember when he hit that step back long 2? We thought it was a 3,
yeah.
But he was on the line. So he hits a step back 2. They come down the other way, and he picks Usar for a steal. West Virginia goes the other way with it. Toby, with an offensive rebound on that ensuing possession, kicks it to Yesufu for a 3. That was Toby as well. He had 2 of the better both ends. You talk about a two-way player. There were some unbelievably special moments, those 2 in particular for Toby on Saturday. Mm-hmm. He was huge. He was huge. We'll come back to some more of those individual performances. Let me stay on Javon for just a second. The 8 assists and 0 turnovers now give him, in the last 3 games, 24 assists. In the last 3 games. So again, as you go through the league schedule and it matures and teams start to get their scouting report, it's obvious that the key number 1, 2, and 3 is try and take Small out. Well, people are struggling to take him out number 1. And when teams have tried to limit him from a scoring standpoint, he's busting through with these assists. 24 assists in the last 3 games, just 5 turnovers in that stretch. Very nearly 5-to-1 assist to turnover for a guy that is getting 2, sometimes 3 players on him.
Mm-hmm.
Remarkable. We've had some really special basketball players at this school. This dude is as skilled as, put him in any category you want. We've come in here throughout the course of the season and again talked about the Big 12's leading scorer, him. We just now talked about his assists and his prowess there. We've had days when we've come in and said, how about Javon Small had 11 rebounds today?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about him in preseason by saying what? What did every conversation about Javon in the preseason say? You know, he almost triple-doubled against West Virginia last year against Oklahoma State. Right. You're seeing that. At different times this season, you've seen him be elite in every one of those categories. Oh, by the way, you want me to add another category to that?
Sure.
He guarded Gabe Madsen most of the game on Saturday. Utah's best shooter and scorer who takes 30% of its shots from the field. There were times when you forgot Gabe Madsen was out there. And I mean that as a compliment to Javon's defense, not to bang on Gabe Madsen, but he only had 1 3 in the game. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that was due to Javon shadowing him on the defensive end. So he literally gives you everything. Javon gives you everything you would possibly want out of a basketball player. And he did it on Saturday.
100%.
3-point shooting overall, and this leads in to some of this discussion about these other guys. Joe Yesufu, once again, has just, man, you talk about a guy, when he shows up and performs and scores like he does, you probably get a win if you're West Virginia. We go back, you don't win that game at Kansas without Joe. You don't win at Colorado without Joe. You don't win at Cincinnati without Joe, and you might not win Saturday without his points. Unbelievable performance from Yesufu.
That's right? A great point.
He leads to, or helps lead, along with Amani and JP, which we'll get to both of those guys in just a second, to three-point shooting where you made 9 threes. Right? Is that what you finished with? 9 total threes?
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia now moves to 11-2 on the season when they make 9 or more three-pointers. So we know for a team that takes nearly half its shots from 3, that's a critical part of the offense. It opens everything else. It did on Saturday. West Virginia was clicking early. 6 of those came in the first half, and you felt pretty good about where that was trending, and that number held true again. Make 9 threes, you walk out with a win.
Right. Shot the ball very symmetrically. 48% for the game, 48% in each half. West Virginia shot 47.8, 48% in the second half, so they were spot on there, and also had consistency from 3. Now, one thing, however, a couple of things. You could have won that game by a lot more points, and you're going to lose a game coming up here if you don't do a much improved job at the foul line. Like, you can't go 13 for 23.
I do think that's a little bit of an outlier. Like, Jonathan Powell went 1 for 4 from the free throw line. I mean, I'll take him at the free throw line in any situation, anytime, and bet he's not going 1 for 4 again. That changes. That would be rare if he wasn't at least 3 for 4 there. Put another 2 on that. So, I mean, you're right, but I also think that was an aberration performance, I think. Couple other performances while we're here. Amani Hansberry was outstanding. One of his better all-around games, I thought. 17 points, knocked down those 3 three-pointers, which we've said all season. If Amani's going to make threes, this team is extremely dangerous, and the numbers bear that out. But he did a great job hitting those early, which set the tone, which changed how you have to guard West Virginia. Now you've really got to pay attention to him floating on the perimeter. He also battled in there while being, 5, 6, 7 inches shorter than a lot of those Utah guys. To come in with 7 rebounds was tremendous. And how about this? 4 assists for Amani. 2 of them came in the second half when he was posting up, Javon on the one side, isolating Hansberry, kicked it down, and they doubled, and he kicked out to JP for second half threes that were huge. Mm-hmm. And you needed both of them. Those were extremely well done by Amani to kick and find the open Powell. JP was really good as well. A guy that you needed to score yesterday that was also held in check early. Saturday. Held in check early. Some face guarding going on there. You could see how important they thought Jonathan Powell was to that offense as they stuck Gabe Madsen at times in the corner just up against him, staring right in his face, not worrying about help. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan's shots were limited early. He was big late, hitting a couple big threes. Had 7 rebounds, and then how about the defensive play where he intercepted the pass at midcourt, took it in for the layup. For a true freshman that's a really good shooter to be able to do that on the defensive end, we've said it all year about him, tremendously impressed with the defensive effort.
You remember a few years back, we did a little, I'm not going to call it scientific, but we dug back into records to see if a player as a freshman scores a certain point per game total, they turn out to be a good player. You remember that? And the number was 4. Like, if you average 4 points or more as a freshman, historically, then you go on and you have a very, very productive career. And Jonathan is sitting about 8 or 9.
Yeah,
about 8 points per game. So, like we always say, like, if you're good right from the start, you're going to be good. Any last thing on the Utes?
One more thing. West Virginia was really good in transition, which was by design. You wanted to take their size and use it against them and say, okay, you got big guys? Let's see if you can run. We want to get up and down the floor if you're West Virginia. 2.2 points per possession in transition. So think about that. More than a basket on every transition play, which means you got some threes mixed in there. That was the best mark of the season, and you just surpassed the TCU game, which was your second best on the season. So the last 2 games, or the 2 most efficient games you've had in transition, have been the last 2 parts of the game. Also offensively, I thought once again, I probably don't need to be pointing this out every week, but I'm going to continue to do so because it impresses me. Whenever you come out of timeouts or the halftime, watch what Darren puts together offensively. and he did it again in the second half. They came out and ran some beautiful sets, including the first one that got a great shot, didn't get the basket. And then you had, 3 or 4 possessions where you just got great shots and got buckets coming out of the halftime session, which were huge and really helped with this offense.
Yeah.
So great overall performance.
All right. That's the Utes. Coming up, we'll dive into our first encounter with the Cougars of BYU. And like Utah, they have an abnormally large point guard position. As I said earlier, we'd like to welcome a new sponsor onto the program. It is Jan Dills, Attorneys at Law. And we're delighted to have them because if you're a regular, you know that, number one, we like to support West Virginia-based businesses. This is a business which is started and still runs right out of Parkersburg, but literally has become nationwide through the years. And one of their very, very special areas of expertise is helping military veterans secure benefits that are due them from the Department of Veterans Affairs. So we've got a lot of military people. We've known that through the years that text in to us. So if you or someone that you know suffers from PTSD, back pain, hearing loss, knee injuries, well, then Jan Dills, Attorneys at Law, are there for you. You can get the benefits that you are due. Now, this is a process, and it's not an easy process. Stunning, shocking development. Guess what? A lot of bureaucracy when it comes to filing these kinds of claims. So it behooves you tremendously to use someone that literally does it every single day of the week, and they have saved and helped hundreds and hundreds of military veterans. And the nice thing I like about this is that this is not limited to West Virginia, because we've got so many of our listeners that are outside of West Virginia. They literally are nationwide when it comes to helping military veterans. So let me give you a couple of things here. Here's a phone number, number one, 1-877-VETERAN. 1-877-VETERAN, or just their website, jandills.com, D-I-L-S, jandills.com. No money on your side. They get paid when you win the benefits that you deserve. And one of the nice things as well, and when I say they built this practice, their attorneys are members of the National Organization of Veterans Advocates, so they know exactly what it is, and they're accredited by the federal government to handle these types of benefit cases. So if you need help, military veteran, visit jandills.com, and we're delighted that they are with us. BYU. This will be interesting. I'm a little concerned. Weather. Calling for some snow.
Yeah, maybe it's going to end up less than what people originally thought.
Well, I hope so. I hope so, but I'm just saying, we need that great energy and that boost.
I agree with that.
We need that boost there, because guess what? When West Virginia goes to play in Provo here coming up,
they'll fill it.
It'll be locked out. It's going to be locked out, and that's a weekend game too. So I guarantee it's going to be locked out. So we need to get a dub. BYU Cougars.
Another big one, and concerning from this standpoint, but if you like the X and O's matchup, this will be fun, because this is a talented offensive unit from BYU going against what's been one of the nation's best defenses in West Virginia. So this is a good one to watch. Here's some stuff on BYU offensively. Ready for these numbers?
I'm ready.
17th nationally in offensive efficiency. 9th nationally in effective field goal percentage, which weights three-pointers heavily, which they should be. 10th nationally in two-point field goal percentage, and they lead the Big Ten in three-point field goal shooting. They do it all. They're going to put you in a ton of ball screens, try and get around you, and then start spraying to shooters that are all over. So this is an offense that is going to stretch West Virginia's defense out. But again, this is one of the best defenses in the country against opponents shooting three. How does West Virginia match up with their ability to shoot from the outside? They've got a bunch of guys that can do it. This was wild. 8 players that average 2 or more three-point attempts per game. So it's not just 1 or 2 guys. They have some elite shooters. They're going to roll a bunch of dudes in there that can shoot and spread you. And once they spread you and you attack the perimeter shooters, they can go inside at you as well. So a very diverse and really good offense. They actually shoot more threes than West Virginia does as a percentage of its overall field goals. They're 16th nationally in three-point attempt rate. So if you can shut the three down, you got a really good chance to walk out of here. Here's another concern. They're pretty good when they're guarded from three. So you think, okay, just get out and pressure them. They still make threes. 43% from three when they're unguarded.
I've watched them play. I think a good word, you say spread. I think spread is a good way to describe what they do. The word that comes to my head is they spray the ball.
It's pick and roll and then spray it. Yes.
It's just constant ball movement. And as you said, the same thing that I took away from it, like they have dudes that make shots that are guarded.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see corner jumpers like where you go, the guy's draped all over them and they're banging shots. So this needs to be not a good defensive effort by West Virginia. This needs to be one of their better defensive efforts of the year.
Yeah, and that's going to be a challenge to get there just because this is a really talented team. Given those numbers I just gave you, this shouldn't surprise you, but they're 14-3. The Cougars are 14-3 when they score 30 or more points from jump shots. Two of those losses have come in the last two games where they've made shots, but they have given up a bunch on the other end. So this is one of those, can you guard them enough to make it difficult, but can you take advantage of what at times for them becomes a lax defense? Are you going to be able to score with them at times? Really intriguing matchup here to watch. Defensively, this is where can you go score some points on them? They haven't forced a lot of turnovers, 13th in the Big 12 when they're on defense, so that should play right into West Virginia's hands. West Virginia doesn't turn it over a lot. They're 13th in opponent three-point field goal percentage, so teams can shoot threes against them as Cincinnati just did. They went bananas from behind the three-point line, allowed them to run away with that game. They're 12th in the Big 12 out of 16 teams in overall defensive efficiency. So can you get your offense cranked up against them and hang in there defensively? Keep an eye on them. A couple guys to watch. Igor Demin, you alluded to a big point guard. He's a big point guard. There will be multiple NBA scouts in the building watching him. He's a potential high draft pick.
This is when your boys coming to this one?
Scheduled to arrive. Scheduled to be here.
It'd be like old home week for you?
Yeah, I'd be excited. A lot of Valley High School alums in the building potentially, which is always a good thing. Demin is the most used offensive player for BYU in terms of possessions. He'll have the ball in his hand a ton. He's in the top 1% of players in assist rate, so he's a very good distributor. But he'll also turn it over a little bit. Is this a Sincere Harris gets Demin, and can you disrupt that offense enough, one, to get some steals and turnovers and get the other way for easy buckets, and two, just gum up the wheels of that BYU machine that can get humming pretty good. If Sincere played on Saturday, I thought did a nice job in some limited action. How close is he to 100%? What do you get out of him defensively? But I would guess he's going to draw Demin, who has great size, but Sincere can come close in the size department. That's a critical matchup.
He's going to have to get up in him.
In him.
He's going to have to get
without
up without
fouling.
Here's some. If you haven't seen Demin play yet, he's a dude. He's a Euro.
Russian, if I'm not mistaken.
And long Euro, and he got some flash to him. Now, I'm not saying this, but he has that ability to pass the ball. Again, don't.
What, you going to say magic?
Luka.
Oh, look.
You got some of that, right? He got some of that, right? He's got some of that, like windmill type passes, and like he'll give you, and he's really fun to watch. So it will be extremely interesting to see how Sincere Harris can hopefully give him a little bit of a challenge of being comfortable.
15 turnovers in his last 4 games. So the thing with him is going to be, which of those wins out? Can West Virginia force him into a bunch of turnovers and to press and force and advantage West Virginia? Maybe you get the win off that. Or does he go bananas and get the advantage and walk out of there with 8 assists on you and you're in trouble? Because if you don't turn him over and he gets the corner on you, now he starts spraying or you come to help him with his great size, then you've got some challenges here. When they're winning, they had a 4-game Big 12 win streak earlier this season. He had 26 assists in that stretch. So he really starts kicking it when they're playing well. Richie Saunders, another guy to watch, can really shoot it 44% from 3. And Traore's back. West Virginia made him an MVP last year in a spot start for him. He was unbelievable last year against West Virginia. So he's a big dude in the middle, one of the best rebounders in the country, offense and defensively. I have a bunch of other guys I could go through, but those are kind of the key guys to watch.
All right. Again, play them. We play them twice coming up here in a matter of just weeks.
Hold on, sorry, one more thing.
There's always one more.
I just found this stat interesting to tell you how good this defense has been for West Virginia. Last year, teams made double-digit threes against WVU 11 times during the season, which was a lot. That's part of why you had trouble winning. Opponents made 11 different times, made double-digit threes. This year, it's only happened twice. Both were on the road. Lost to Pitt and a loss to Houston. Those are the only two teams that West Virginia's played all year that have gotten to double-digit threes. That's important for this game because at BYU, what happens? Does BYU get to double digits? You're in some trouble. If they don't, you're probably in this game and have a good chance to win.
So this will be BYOD. Bring your own defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got to bottle them up. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by GoMart. If you haven't downloaded the app, let me give you a reason why you should. Because this is a super fun way to fill up your fuel tank and save dollars. All you have to do, download the app, and then on their app, they've got a game called Tiki Solitaire. You play your first round of that game, Tiki Solitaire, on their app, Solitaire, and you will get 20 cents off a gallon of gas. So let's say you've got a 20-gallon tank. You'll save 20 cents. That's $4 American just for trying it out. So download the GoMart app. Start playing it today. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us as well by Comax Business Systems. They've got their business gear in businesses and offices across the state of West Virginia. And one of the ways you keep folks happy, Brad?
Yeah.
Hydration.
Sure.
You knew that.
Sure.
You got to be, right? You got to be hydrated. And if you're a business owner or you run a business, here's a refreshing way to keep your folks cooking along all day long. Give them a water system, which is just fantastic. Beautifully filtered water, both cold and hot. Crisp, clean water, the push of a button. It promotes hydration, wellness inside your building. Say goodbye to all those heavy bottles that people have toted around for years and go to a machine that the folks at Comax Business Systems have ready for you. It really is a super deal. It's the I-12 water cooler. Sleek design, cutting-edge technology, provides ice, water, hot, cold. Check them out. ComaxWV.com. All right, so shall we? Shall we heal? It's a good thing we don't have to heal. This is more of a refresh, right? Let's just do a refresh. We don't need to heal, just need to refresh. Let's do it. All right. Textual Healing is brought to us by Three Guys Before the Game's website, which is episode800.com. That's the place where you can get our popcorn, our coffee from Mountaineer Roasting. In fact, I need some more. I'm out. I got to go get some of the...
got some here.
Yeah, you got Game Day Grind. Today. Game Day Grind is our coffee there, so check it out, plus all the other apparel. So I mentioned really quick at the top of the show that we fulfilled our promise to do a dinner that someone bid for back in July of this year, and the money went to the WVU Cancer Institute, and we had quite a night. We went to the wine bar, which is here in Morgantown, after the game, and we took we had a room set aside, and Duca, who's the owner there of the wine bar. Now you know him. I know him.
Wonderful,
wonderful guy. He went above and beyond the call of duty in providing us with this meal. Hey, Jake, why don't you roll some of these pictures, and I'll tell you what kind. So that right there, let me tell you what that is.
You remember the term?
Yes, I do. That is a Jeroboam. That is a 3-liter bottle of Camus. A Jeroboam. 3-liter bottle of Camus. If you're in the wine, you know that that is not Boone's Farm. We'll just leave it at that. Go ahead. Some of these other pictures from the night. So that right there, that was course 1. That was guanciale with white anchovies. That was really, really good. So that's Iberian pig, obviously, on the left-hand side. And it also had fried capers on that. Mm-hmm. And then the chips off to the side and the white anchovies there. So that was really good. Go ahead. One of the other items we had. So that is the warm brie. And that was with a root beer reduction on top of that. That's not balsamic glaze or anything. That's a root beer reduction. That was terrific. Then we went with, this is kind of right to plate too. That is that is duck confit with pickled Romney peaches on the top of that thing. Had to get a little West Virginia flavor into that. Don't know where the duck came from.
Well, real quick, there was a lot of tie-ins to this podcast on that, right? We've talked about Romney peaches a bunch.
Peaches, sure.
We've mentioned we like root beer on this show, efforting to get one done, right? It's a lot of tie-ins
absolutely.
Here.
Then we went with, let me see here, this is the elk stew and croûte. They had a nice flaky biscuit, so to speak. Don't know if they brought that in from Tudor's or not, but the elk was tremendous, moist. It was really, really good. And then we ended the food part of it. That is red stag venison with a blackberry sauce and sweet potatoes. And then I thought the dessert box was off the frickin' chart. So in that dessert box, we went Italian hot chocolate, peanut butter whiskey, Vincotto and cream, chocolate mousse with a little extra virgin olive oil on top of that. The chef was Bailey Reynolds, and they had an entire crew of folks that put that meal together for us. They brought them all out at the end of the evening, and it was fantastic. It was all that food donated by the Wine Bar at Vintner Valley for the benefit of the WVU Cancer Institute, and it was just a great night.
They were awesome. That whole crew, starting with Duca to the whole kitchen staff, unbelievable work and preparation and detail they put into that, tying that in. The reason for the peanut butter whiskey is to tie in to our love of Reese's, like a little chocolate and peanut butter there.
And they closed the night with the Reese's.
There's some Reese peanut butter cups that came out just to have those. I made sure I took one of those down. Did you know I snuck an extra one of those hot chocolates?
Not surprised.
I went ahead and hit an extra one of those. Those were awesome.
Yeah.
So if you're in town, check them out at the Wine Bar. The name is kind of a misnomer. Great wine, of course, but awesome food there. Awesome food. So thank you to Duca and the crew. Awesome night.
Hey, Jake, I'm going to send you another picture because we did take a picture of everyone that was there that night. So
did you get a group?
Yeah, we got a group
with
picture.
Brett and Mike and everybody.
Everyone.
They were awesome too.
Coach. Oh, by the way, volleyball coach Jen Greeny was with us as well. She was terrific.
She was great.
Yeah,
it really was. I mean, the food and the presentation was awesome. That was great company. I had a good time with them.
Yeah. Hey, three guys. This is an in-game text against Utah. Beginning of the Utah game. The game announcer on ESPN Plus brings up that Utah is one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country. All I could do was cringe. We all know the curse is set. Naturally, they go 7 for 7. Well, I would say this to you. Why did it take you until the beginning of the game to listen to a television announcer tell you that? We told you that on Thursday during our preview. And obviously, as we've learned through the past, TV announcers oftentimes watch this show before they do a Mountaineer game, and they get details. Had that guy come up to us. Not going to say his name, but they come in. Hey, we listen every single time we do a West Virginia game to get the numbers. Meanwhile, by the way, my wife and daughter love popcorn. If they had the option, they would have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I took your word, and I got the Valentine's Day delight for both of my girls. I also had to throw in the Mountaineer Munch in my order because I don't think they would have shared.
Awesome.
Let's go Mountaineers. Well, thank you. By the way,
thank you.
Homeless Dave, he brought me over from Mountaineer popcorn, caramel with almond with peanuts. Oh, God. Just everything I've eaten from there is off the chart.
They do kill it. He brought me some that had some chocolate mixed in there as well, a little chocolate and peanut butter in it. Wasn't our munch, but similar style.
Yeah. By the way, all the Valentine's orders, everything went out mail-wise, and so you'll be getting those this week. Shout out to Star City Post Office. Ben from Ohio. This is kind of troubling. My game day experience Saturday, a solid B.
B?
Well, he says the game was in the A to A- range. Amani making shots, good to see. He's going to be key for us down the stretch when he's making shots. Offense drastically different. Pre-game meal and beverages, A+. So why a B overall? It took me nearly the 2.5-hour drive home to get the damn light bracelet off my wrist. And
I dropped it a full letter grade?
Yeah. In all seriousness, it was a very good time. Hope to make it back for UCF. Texter, great win, great atmosphere with the Coal Rush. Light show really cool, but my friend and I can't loosen the light wristband. We're halfway back to Pittsburgh. We still haven't gotten the thing off our wrist. Hope we're not the only ones struggling right now. Let's go Mountaineers. No, you're not. I came home. I came home, and the wife, that's what she said to me too. I said, what'd you think of the light? She goes, it was great. She goes, I had to cut that bracelet off. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, you can't get the bracelet off. So there it was. She had to slice it to get it off.
Well, that's all right. Just cut it and get it off.
I think people want to put it on again.
Well, it's a one-time use.
The guy might come back.
Then you'll get another one when they do it again. It's a one-time use. Cut it and move on.
Question for the senator. What is Zamani Hansberry's percentage from a three-pointer at the top of the key? That shot and a small that shot and a small pick and pop is pretty lethal when he's making it. What's he shoot from the top of three?
36%.
Okay.
Which is good. While we're there, a little bonus spreads on stats. Opponents are 42% from the top of the key three in home games versus BYU.
Oh, nice.
So when BYU's on the road.
Yeah. Texter, obviously they play different styles, but if you had to choose, who's had a better senior year, Javon Small or Javon Carter?
Wow, tough question.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think that's a tough question.
You do?
Yeah, because Javon Carter won National Defensive Player of the Year.
I understand.
Javon Carter should be a Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yeah. So we could.
I think that's a hard one.
Wait, yeah, they're hard. But I'll tell you, we probably should have had our production team do a comparison of those numbers before we did this. But since we don't have a production team.
What was Javon's senior year?
I'm looking at it right now. Stand by. Javon Carter. Where's Javon Carter? There's Javon Carter. Okay, his senior year, he averaged 17 points.
Hold on real quick. What year was it?
18.
Okay.
2018. He averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds. Wow.
He was 17 points a game.
He did. How about this number?
That's pretty good.
How about this number? 246 assists to 98 turnovers. So he's basically 2.5 to 1. Had 112 steals.
It was an unbelievable year.
It was unbelievable. He shot
that offense is more than I remembered.
77 threes, 39% from 3, 86 at the foul line.
It's an awesome year. Put some advanced numbers on that. Ken Palm ranks his players of the year just analytically. Had Javon 10th nationally that year, which is incredible. Has Javon sitting 7th right now nationally.
This Javon.
Has Javon Carter, had Javon Carter 10th in 2018, 10th best season in college basketball that year overall. He's got Javon Small sitting 7th best season or player of the year, 7th right now.
Yeah.
As I said, really hard.
Wow. Yeah, it's a wow. Texter. Hey, three guys wanted to say thank you, Brad, Tony, for taking time to say hello. Snap a quick picture with my kids, Otto and Ivan, after the Utah game. They insisted that I send you the picture in hopes of making it to the podcast. Keep up the great work. Let's go Mountaineers. Justin from Morgantown. Well, there they are. I love
Otto and Ivan.
I love those guys. I mean, Otto and Ivan, are those two names?
Awesome.
Like, they didn't sign like Robbie and Tommy. I mean, they went Ivan and Otto.
Celebrity in the background there?
Yeah, that's Landau Eugene Murphy photobombing us in the back there. Yeah. That's he's going to Alaska. Landau is.
Going to Alaska?
Yeah.
To perform? Or just vacation?
No. Speaking engagement. Yeah, speaking engagement.
Awesome.
It was good to see him.
It was great to see him.
It was real good to see him. Yeah, like Ivan and Otto, you guys are all right, man.
Thanks, fellas.
Hey, three guys. This is a good one here. This is wild, folks. Listen, my 8-year-old grandson, Owen White, lives near Salt Lake City. He perhaps is the world's biggest Utah Ute fan. Saturday's game was the perfect setup for a friendly grandpa-type wager. I spotted him 7.5 points, with the loser having to don the opposing team's jersey, take it to a neighborhood street, and then scream allegiance to the other team. The result is one of my favorite videos of all time, shot by my daughter Abby, a true West Virginia fan, born and raised in Morgantown. Enjoy, and thanks for keeping us all smiling. So go ahead, roll that video if you would, Jake. So here's the little Sparky out there, and he gets rolling in the...
All right, where are you going? I got to see you, and I'm not coming down in the snow.
Mom's not going in that snow. So he's got a West Virginia jersey. Now listen to him in the road.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yell it.
So he put a Pat White jersey on. He's a huge Utah fan. How old did Grandpa say that little guy is? 8 years old.
Yeah, okay.
8 years old.
Yeah.
So I have a hunch that we'll probably see him when we go to Utah.
That was awesome. That was great.
Probably get to meet him. So I am very glad that Grandpa won that bet. JD from the Southern Coalfields, did Country Roads just jump the shark during the Super Bowl? West Virginia needs to do a social media campaign going so everyone knows how the song became tied to sports in the first place.
I thought yesterday, and I didn't watch the commercials nearly as closely as I have in past years, but I thought for an old marketing guy, Tony, awesome activation on this. So Rocket Mortgage does the commercial on TV with Country Roads being the backdrop and the song and the soundtrack, which was very cool. Then they come back out of commercial back in the stadium, and if you notice closely, the signage in the stadium was all Rocket Mortgage or Rocket.com,
right.
And they were playing Country Roads in the stadium at that time to tie into the TV broadcast with the in-stadium experience, which I thought was elite level
5-star
tie-in. Very well done.
5-star.
So no, JD, I don't think it jumped the shark. I thought that was A+ marketing execution there by everybody involved.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know any of that was happening. And so during the game, that was an absolute wow to me. Just a wow.
Cool.
Absolutely fantastic. 3 guys before the game is brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They happen to be the single largest pontoon boat dealer in our state of West Virginia, family owned for over 4 decades. And as we get ready to get back out into the water, fishing season fast approaching, they do a great job with their G3 John boats. These bad boys are just simply, in one word, really, really nice. They provide you durability, dependability, and value, key elements needed for the avid outdoorsman. Check them out, G3 Johns, just absolutely all welded models, hunting and fishing and everything else in between. Check them out at LouWendellMarineSales.com. As we've said, they've been in business, family-owned for decades. And again, as I often say, if you can do it and you're in that long, then you're doing it right. By the way, speaking of music, their Country Roads, have we talked at all about Charles Wesley Godwin and his summer tour?
No, we talked about his new song coming out last week, I think, but we have not talked about the tour.
So he has got 3 dates this coming summer. Do you see who he's going to be with?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this artist. His name is Willie Nelson. And another artist that was on this, his name is Bob Dylan. Amazing. So,
Unreal.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So 2 of the dates are in North Carolina. One's in Charlotte, one's in Raleigh. And if you're in that vicinity, just an incredible, again, accomplishment for Charles. It's part of that Outlaws tour that Willie Nelson does each year. And, wow. Is that just a wow?
He's crushing it. Has he officially blowed up?
He's blowed up. Yeah, he's blowed up. Unbelievable. Can you imagine that?
I mean, I think he blowed up before this. I think he blowed up last year.
Just stop and think one thing, though. At some point, our boy Chuck is going to be like on this tour, and he'll open, he'll be one of the acts. And then at some point, he'll be in his trailer that night, and then he'll walk in behind the stage, and out there's going to be Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. Are you freaking kidding me? Huh?
Pretty cool.
Wowzo. Professor Vinny here. I want to throw this out. Darren DeVries, first year already a success, regardless of how the season plays out. I know a lot of fans adjusted expectation after early success and being rated. However, those expectations should have been adjusted. It's his first year in the Big 12 dealing with a new team and injuries to the top 2 scorers, so let's have fun with this. Early success, not get too upset if they don't make Sweet 16. Ready for some plates?
Mm-hmm.
Seafood lasagna and WVU women's basketball on while waiting for WVU men's basketball. Doesn't get much better than this. So, boy had some. That'd be a good plate. A nice heavy meal this time of year. Savory seafood lasagna. That was pretty good.
That sounds good.
And then this one. This person titled this Hillbilly Nutrification from Bridgeport. Says, enjoy the week, fellas. So take a look at that. There you go. You are looking live.
What's going on there?
Well, you got a Tudor's biscuit container of gravy.
Yeah.
He's poured the gravy. He's got a Tudor's biscuit on top of that thing. And, here's the deal. As you all know, Tudor's biscuit starts your day the Three Guys way with a Tudor's biscuit. They currently are, keep in mind, franchising. So if you have that entrepreneurial bug which has bitten you, you can become one of over 70 Tudor's biscuits, and there's great locations that are available. So if you're looking for a franchise opportunity, how about starting off with a business that's got just unbelievable brand equity already built in? The top of mind awareness is there for you. Just say Tudor's biscuit, and people know. And also those Tudor's biscuits. Did I tell you about the special this month? What's going on right now? They got this deal where you buy one and you get a second one for $1. That's right. You're taking a look at it. The Dottie, the sausage biscuit, the Peppy or the hash brown. You buy one of those, and you get another one of those for just 4 quarters, 100 pennies, 20 nickels, 10 dimes, $1. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way.
Maybe because I'm starving, but I could eat 2 of those right now.
Okay, so wait a second. So wait a second. Let's rephrase this. What you just said. You do realize that less than 16 hours ago, you know where I'm going. You put yourself in some serious gastro distress.
Yeah, had a rough night.
You overate.
Too much Super Bowl food.
What did you do too much of?
A lot. Heavy. My wife makes unbelievable guacamole.
She's big dip girl, yeah. Yep, big dips.
I had a lot of that. Had a lot of queso.
Heavy. Yeah, I hurt myself.
I went heavy on the desserts, which is not a surprise.
I never made it to dessert.
You didn't even get dessert?
Never made it to dessert. Never made it to dessert. I hurt myself. Chicago beef sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
One was unbelievable. So, of course, I had to do 2.
Why wouldn't you?
So I had everything ready for pizza. I had 6 doughs for pizza. 6 doughs for pizza. Ended up only making 4 because it was too much.
Did you have pizza then too?
I had a ton of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Ton of pizza.
You couldn't even get to dessert?
Couldn't even touch dessert.
Well, that's a bad effort.
So I woke up this morning and had a brownie. Yeah, it's never going to change. It's just going to be like, Tombstone will say like, never learned how to properly control himself. That will be like one of the things, like obit. Like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and never controlled how to take his food input in. Never learned the lesson, right? All right.
You won't get criticism from me on that.
Just don't get it. All right. So Thursday, we be back, and we will recap West Virginia and the BYUs, and we will preview our first and only regular season encounter with the Baylors. By the way, I've been wearing this bracelet. I don't think you can get a good look at it, but it's really well done. It's gold and it's blue, and it was handmade. It's got a little flying W. It's got flying WVU little dice on there, or whatever you want to call those things. But a young girl made that for me. Her mom and her gave it to me at the game on Saturday. She was from Scott Depot, Winfield High School.
Came up for the game.
Came up for the game.
So Generals.
And she made that. Yeah, Generals, Winfield. And she made that. So there you go. Thank you, Jake, for getting a closer shot on that. It's really neat. So thank you all very, very much.
Good luck. Wear it tomorrow night.
Yeah, it
too.
was. Yeah, I'll keep it on
Tuesday.
there. 3 Guys Before the Game, brought to us in part by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. You know what?
And welcome on board.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, she's the
Dills
best.
and the
They're
attorneys.
the best. Won't take no for an answer, which we kind of like on Three Guys. Same thing with these officials. Like, we won't take no for an answer. Jan Dills, attorneys at law. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart Rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details, or just download it and get the app and immediately begin saving. At 20 cents off a gallon, all I got to do is play Tiki Solitaire. It's a heck of a deal.
Pretty good.
Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, selling family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Whenever it comes to stuff that you need on the water, they got it. By Tudor's Biscuit World, start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. Warm, tasty, savory. I could crush 2 right now. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers.
Real quick, Gomart, is Connection 304 still the beer of the month this month? That was for January. Is it still for February?
We have been held over like a great Broadway play. Held over.
Extended the deal.
Connection 304 is now, again, the beer of the month at Gomart. I met some guys this weekend. They said, haven't had it yet. Where can I get it? I said, go to Gomart. Go to Gomart.
Yeah, it's in like 70-plus locations throughout the state, right?
Correct. Enjoy it. Love to hear what you think about it. That'll do it for us. Again, popcorn orders are going out. Valentine's Day coming up. Thanks to our producer, Dr. Jake. We're out. Thanks for being with us on Three Guys Before the Game.